Yay, we're live! Tonight's going to be a little more interesting than usual. We're going to talk about the Uraesh language that I use, the language of chaos, primordial chaos. Now let's get some kind of background going here. I need a new tab, apparently. Some kind of background. There's nobody here. I don't think there's gonna be anybody here. There never is. So we're gonna go to... What are we going to use tonight? We got to find something to use. Not going to get me in too much trouble. A little obscure. Ancient. Let's see. Could do this. These are all remix. Those songs that I like. No, we're just going to use something that's calming. Why it keeps changing my view on these things. Why is this even in here? Let's see why this is even in here at all. Why is there a document? Okay, yeah, I don't need that's hella old. Okay, let's switch the music. Okay, the music is switched. Let's get back to the books. So tonight's definitely going to be interesting. It's going to be about chaotic languages. Languages for pure chaos. I think I've done this on Rumble, and I think I've done this on BitChute already. But I haven't done it here. Let's see what I have about the language. Okay, what the hell happened? We need is going to Pete shuffle. That's all done. Okay, there's not a whole lot about this. Let me see what other books I have about it. It's got to be something about the actual language. Not really. It doesn't look like I really have anything about it. I thought I did. No, there's only a dictionary in here. That's pretty simple. There's only one common word. Where the hell? This is weird. Let's open up the training course. There's got to be something here that's going to tell me what's in here. Okay, I think I might have found it, but I just don't know where this exists in the main documents. Is there anything here that describes what the hell's going on? Yeah, it talks about the altar. There's a little bit about it in here. This might be more useful. This section about Uraesh magic. So it will go on about the language, I guess. As the Uraesh alphabet has 9 overnotes and 8 undernotes. Previously, we called the undernotes VCs, also called tittles, and overnotes NVCs, also called consonants. The language is meant to be written right to left, top to bottom. Red will show the characters, and green will show where the undernote will go. The underline represents the sound of each letter makes. Daily practice of this tongue is advised because some words in the dictionary can be hard to pronounce or form into coherent song. Once you speak a work enough times, it becomes easy to find, and its song form will become easier to discover. So let's go and actually show you guys what is on here. Let me actually get I guess I'll have to do the color version. I can see where the notes belong. So it does give you the sounds of each character. I'm not going to go through each one. So that's basically it. And these are the tittles, the dot above the I or whatever. Like would normally these are the vowel sounds for each letter. So that's the written form of the language. So basically it's written form. I don't have anything written in it right now, but there's something in this document that has written form. It says there is only one common word in the language of Uraesh, and that is its name, which means tongues. The language consists of 8 VCs and 9 NVCs. These characters will be assigned a written character designed by the sorcerer himself. The sorcerer must create a basic set of words to be used in ritualistic uses. The complexity of the language created depends on the sorcerer's skill in the matters of fabricating a magical language based on his skill in channeling and his own soul and learning the tones and notes that work according to his soul. The power of Uraesh comes directly from the soul and its interaction with the universe and its energies. This language bridges the gap between chaos and order, and thus it is perfect chaos. By learning Uraesh, the sorcerer can use chaos magic to command the ordered powers of all creation in ceremonial magic and in summoning. Although words with negative meanings are given, they are only given as a means to create words for protection against those aspects. Do not fret about conflicts in the words, as the language may evolve as you learn more about how language works as time passes. Changing words is not a bad thing. It is just a part of your path in learning and mastery. So the language is basically a contract. Let me get the unfinished. I haven't painted this or designed anything on it yet, but let me get out the card that has the whole alphabet on it. Put it around here. So this card has the entire alphabet. Those are all the characters I handwritten. So that's the language looks like. Let me get a word. That's what one of the words looks like. We find one with a tittle. It's inside of a larger character, inside of a consonant character. So it looks like that when you put the tittle inside of the consonant characters. I don't have anything large. There's a larger word written out. So that's basically what the language, that's what the words look like. I have a whole stack of cards. Each one contains a word. I'm not going to be doing too many spells. I might do spells later tonight. Depends on how long I stay on. I only just started drinking, so I'm not really sure. Probably not going to do too many spells tonight. I'm not really in the mood to do too much damage. Newscum's already been cursed so heavily. I just got to wait for all the aftermath to manifest. I just got to wait for everything to manifest. So you can use the language without an altar or with an altar. You use chaos, you do as you please, but in the book, that's your standard altar for this. We're using this language. It's just a black candles and a black mirror, so it's just pretty simple. We're going to go into this. To use the Uraesh, an altar is used, but not necessary. I recommend using an altar because it offers a workspace and a place to add materials and tools to any working. I also recommend singing or chanting the Uraesh. Make a song of every spell. Oh, witches do that. That's how witches do their magic as well. But they don't usually create magical languages. That's the realm of sorcerers. Because you have the black mirror accompanied by 2 black candles on either side. Because you should have a table with a space to add a photo of your target. You can add any other tool that you have created over the years, so as long as it complies with your task. Is when you make the names for various gods from other languages or use existing deities, you will write the words for those titles and not the given name. The names of Uraesh gods are merely descriptive, as are the titles of Shenva elders. Uraesh creates words of power when intention is put upon them. And Shenva is the name of the species that invented the language. It says the Uraesh can be as complex or as simple as you like. The Uraesh spoken in chaos is a sacred language and is developed into a fully spoken language. The Uraesh remains primal, basic, where it is held most sacred. If you are tone deaf and unable to get into the concept of singing, this language will do nothing for you. Even though I have found that to be complete bullshit. It is just as potent either way. So I guess I should probably change that, actually. I need to find out where this is sourced. You do not have to be good. It's just good enough to get into the mood of the songs the language creates when you find your tune with it. This is a language of the soul, and thus that soul speaks through vibration. It says the Uraesh shows its strength when used by itself. That is when you have mastered it fully. You can sing a spell without any tools, and you will call upon your full potential in trust of your ability. The Uraesh is the only as strong as you are. You still have to learn traditional methods of the occult to further your practical skills and abilities, but the Uraesh allows you to harness those powers without tools. The power of the Uraesh is through your soul and a connection to the power of the primordial chaos. Through the primordial chaos and the Uraesh, which can shape chaos into order, you can create reality. Master of the Uraesh is perfect chaos. The Uraesh allows the sorcerer to wield the might of creation itself. The Uraesh sorcerer can put order to chaos with their song. In the Uraesh, you will find that music is one of the strongest forces of all. But music itself is created in the soul. The soul and music are both vibrations, and thus the Uraesh is perfection and master over chaos. Use music to create your Uraesh and master over the primordial chaos with divine order. Chaos is just the dough by which the bread of life is made. Sing the song of creation and create new things. use the Uraesh to master chaos and deliver order. So I have a picture of the alphabet again in here, so I'll show it to you as one piece. And there's a written phrase right there. So we got the evil god's name written out. I said that thing so many freaking times. His name is Ashimei. He's God's exact perfect counterpart. Where there is creation, there is destruction, life and death, good and evil, light and dark. These are the Uraesh blood runes. This is the language of the Shenva and the Shenkei. The Shenkei are another species related to the Shenva, so I'm not going to go into all that here. This language should only be written with ink that contains blood. Every word is binding, and every word is owned by its author. I have found that just bleeding on the document after you've written a spell works just as well as putting blood in the ink. Since I don't have like a quill pen or ink well or any of that kind of stuff, I just found that putting a dot of blood on the document itself works just as well. Like many languages on Kitasuna, Uraesh is written in dual characters. The row cut divide each letter into two parts. Vertical lines for consonant sounds and horizontal for vowel. In Uraesh, we use tittles for vowel sounds. The green squares, like circles in this case, show where the vowel tittle will go. Any extra tittles will just be added to the end of the word at the same level as the previous tittle. A word starting with a tittle will have the tittle at the same level as the tittle in the next character. That's why Ashimei name is on there. Above is Ashimei. Oh yeah, go destroy Gavin Newscum for me, please. Amen. Written out in blood, that's not what it says, it just has his name written. Out in blood runes, as you can see, whole words can contain only tittles. The same will be for the firebacks when they write out these words phonetically. When writing in blood runes, pay attention to the pen lines. The blood runes can be drawn with even lines, not styling. The highest power comes with perfection through calligraphy. This is when using the blood runes, you write them and let it happen. Place the written spell where you want it to manifest. The ink must contain your blood or the blood of a sacrifice. These runes should be used in places where you can send physical documents. Write the document in blood runes and place it where you want the curse to take place. There are no limits to your request other than the physics of the universe. It says the blood runes are the same as spoken Uraesh. It achieves in writing what the voice would do in vibrations. If in a pinch, you can just put blood on the document, but optimal if blood is mixed into the ink. There is no effective exorcism with this form of curse. Primordial chaos is not to be trifled with. Okay, now we're going to get into the really strange part of this language. Like how you discern it and how you create your own version. For anyone who's like going to actually attempt this, which I do not recommend doing that at all, because you literally have to be like John Dee or Rasputin or maybe King Saul himself. You have to be extremely experienced in the dark arts and black magic and sorcery and all that kind of stuff. I think even witchcraft could probably wield this language just fine, but I still don't recommend doing it as a witch because you're dealing with existing gods that may not appreciate you having this kind of power. Having the power of like a literal goddess, I don't think they really would want you having that, but if you're really up for it, go for it. But the book is published in the book is published in my Google Drive, and I will make it available to people who contact me. but they would have to somehow leave their email address in the comments section with a space between a .com or .whatever for it to show up in the comments, because it won't let you post links otherwise. So you have to break up the email, or just put the email with the, I guess, at Gmail, and don't put .com so it won't show up as a link, and you'll be able to put your email into comments. Most people know it's .com or .net or whatever, depending on your internet service. So we're going to go into obtaining the language, how the language is actually obtained, like how a sorcerer would get this language. Requires you to have great discernment. And I know that witch has great discernment. She would be more than capable of developing a language herself with this. It would greatly increase her powers to like totally insane levels. Hecate probably would not be too happy with her having this kind of power. It depends on the level of trust between the two, but I believe her relationship with Hecate would allow her to have this language without any problems, because that witch is not greedy for power. She's very just and oriented to the laws of the universe. I believe Hecate would be just fine with her having this language or creating her own alphabet. You don't have to create your own alphabet, but it'd be just fine with her creating a dictionary of words through discernment, possibly using her tarot cards to represent the characters, or something, assigning a character to 17 cards and using that to discern the words. I'm not sure how she would do it, but they probably would have to do it one word at a time for each spell she wants to create. That's what I would assume would have to happen in her case, unless she can just simply channel the words itself by vibrating the sounds. And like I did, I just vibrated the sounds of the language and was able to get the words that way, and felt like the thing I was looking for. So, okay, here's what it says. It says there are 17 sounds available in Uraesh. When it comes to making words for your own language, you need to specialize. You need to specialize in purity, discernment, and channeling. All things that which has. Those are 3 qualities she has. Discernment is needed to feel the energy of the sounds used to create words in Uraesh. Channeling is needed to ask the entities you plan to work with in order to make words specific to your beliefs. And purity is pretty obvious, so you don't get freaking corrupted. That's why I didn't even bother to mention it, because it's pretty evident. It's a little part you should know on your own. When you create the Uraesh of your own manifestation, you will keep a single word, Uraesh, which is the name of the language itself in the tongue spoken. In my spoken tongue of the Uraesh, the language translates as fires, and rightfully so. I have a fiery tongue when it comes to curses. As we all know, the stuff I've done to Gavin Newscum in the East Coast, and firestorms and magic and stuff. Yeah, it's very obvious this language is my fiery tongue. It says, your element will play into the name as I believe it has for me. It says, building a language that connects you to the primordial chaos will expose truths to those who are awake in the study of languages. This is something Tolkien would have freaking loved. Tolkien would have probably used this, or at least the language I've created, for the Mordor language. He probably would have. Because when I created my written form, it came across as a matrix of Hebrew and Arabic strokes and lines that uniquely roll cut in the division of duties between the consonant and vowel sounds. I guess I'll highlight this. Let me highlight the. Okay, the language you create is deeply personal, and it will never offer the same power to others as it does for you. The simplicity of use and incantations make the Uraesh off-putting at first. Once you fully realize the Uraesh, is a max bet option on your spells, you will get why it is so easy and quick. That's why I'm able to share the language and use it publicly, because even if you copy my spells, you'll never get the same results as I do, because the language is stronger for me than it would be for you. That's why I'm able to just put everything online. I don't care. Let people see the language, even see the dictionary of words. It won't do you any good. It's only geared for my use. The hardest part of using the Uraesh is in how simply and easy it is. Okay, so how simple and easy it is. I like that. Many will come into this thinking there must be more ritual or ceremony to it. The only need is the way the words or write is a way to say the words or write them and place them where you want the spell. There is no fully getting out of the reaction of your enemy should they know who is casting the spells. You will, however, in good practice of the occult, create banishings and shielding spells in the process of building a grimoire of work. Use this power only if you are ready to deal with the faults of getting found out. The Uraesh is first a contract and second a language. The contract is the vibrations that allow you to connect to the primordial chaos without spiritual filters. Next is the language. These are the sounds and symbols that represent the energies of each word and phrase. Just each person who undertakes the Uraesh will have their own language and script. Mastery is never easy, nor can it ever be without equal work. As in, there is no shortcuts. You're going to have to work at it. And the Uraesh may be your most difficult work ever, because it requires you to actually work to make each and every word you're ever going to use. If you want something of great power, you must earn great power first, and later be granted easy access to it through the Uraesh. The Uraesh does grant power where power does not exist, but rather it gives you prime access to your peak potential. There are no shortcuts to power beyond what you have. You will always have to train and obtain new skills. As a sorcerer, you will have to obtain the base power for the Uraesh to manifest. There are no shortcuts to power, just using what you already have. The Uraesh is such a powerful shortcut to your peak power that it is clownishly simple. This is the most dangerous magical language of them all. Ooh, it's actually missing a whole word here. Yeah, I like that. Damn, does not grant power where power does not exist. Yeah, because it doesn't grant you powers you don't already have. So that would be right. Okay, next section. Obtainment through innocence. This is like the purity kind of part. This is why the purity is actually kind of mentioned. In the next part, I'm going to describe the qualities needed to obtain the Uraesh in its peak form. I have learned there are three main things you will need, and they are innocence, discernment, and channeling. I'm actually going to go and change that first word up here. So it says purity. I'm going to change it to innocence, because I think that is what it is. And that which you know does not have innocence. That is the one quality she lacks. She does not have her innocence intact anymore. That is something I more or less still manifest. I have never acted on any of that bullshit that is online. Like Chris Chan or even Tofiachi for that matter, I've never acted on it. So even for that matter, the innocence is still intact, even for that crap. Even though Christian was coercion through black magic of his creation, and the Sonichu demons, which are actually hell spawns, manifesting as Sonichu, but I'm not going to get into that in this video. This is not the place for that. I can do that in another video. says, without innocence, you are hopelessly corrupted from obtaining a purified form of the Uraesh. You know, I have actually never had to change a single word in the Uraesh. That's probably one of the signs that my innocence is still actually intact. The Uraesh is something you are born to earn, not trained. The sinner will never obtain the Uraesh, for they believe they have sinned. The Uraesh belongs to those who act without thought, but with extreme purpose. Those who obtain the Uraesh and use it will be pure of heart, innocent, creative, without fears of their works, and most of all, without the corruption of the ego, and most of all, humble and content. Yes, this language can produce acts of savage evil, but those acts are divinely ordained, such as the apocalypse or Armageddon. And yes, this language is more than capable of destroying the entire world. There is no doubt about that, given I was able to set LA on fire with just a few nights of chanting. The Palisades fire was caused by the Uraesh. It only took me one night for all that crap to start. That was a one-night spell. So that is the true power of this language. It can go beyond that if I decided to really work at it. The highest part is having the bright-eyed innocence and curiosity of a child as an adult. This is where every occultist will fail. And I can actually probably prove that witch, does not have her innocence intact. So because of how she reacted when I was drunk, I can go look for the comments and show them to you, proving that she does not have her innocence intact. And that I do. The ego is developed and well defined by adulthood in all but the most profoundly innocent, as can be found in Down syndrome. This innocence will have levels of spiritual gifts not seen outside of childhood. Refer to lesson 4. I guess. Oh, this must be in the lesson books. I have to refer to lesson 4 for materials on the heraldic faith. Oh yeah, it does say that. Materials on the heraldic faith. Their ultimate goal is to herald a new age of prosperity for the Rokat. That's an alien race that cannot use the Uraesh normally. They have been genetically modified to do so now. So yeah, I got a few allies who can use it on my behalf if I really need some work. Since they only focus on purity, they only focus on the purity of the virgins, but neglect the innocence of childhood as a means of mortal protection, relegating purity to the afterlife. Demons cannot possess children until they reach the age of consent in the spiritual world. That is puberty. Discernment. Once innocence is achieved by being born with it, an actual spelling error. Being born with it and maintaining it through the filter of Down syndrome or autism spectrum disorder, you are mostly ready to search for the ultimate power of creation and destruction. The universe does not allow just any ego-driven being to obtain the highest of all powers. The Uraesh often comes to worlds where the fight is outside the hands of the mortals. When a child sees something that does not make sense or is illogical, they will call it out and ask about it, or simply denounce it. If a child had the intellect of the age of a 50-year-old and still called out illogical things with a university degree to back it up, the lies and guiles of the serpent could never stand against the truth. Yet smart thinkers would bring up to challenge the lies. Asking questions is the most powerful tool you have as an occultist and a wizard seeking the truth and peak potential. Channeling. The final but least important aspect is channeling. You can channel, but without innocence, full of purity and discernment, you will channel an evil force and it will give you a false language that only leads to evil. If you lack a child's innocence and the discernment, you cannot hope to contact the full body of the primordial chaos and basically the blueprint the creator used to design this creation. This is simple. This is the simple ability to communicate with the primordial chaos once you know you have the direct connection. It says, I will not be teaching attainment of these goals because by the time you pick up this book, you should already know these skills. The Uraesh is for those who are pure in heart and pure in spirit. That is the entire lesson. That is basically the entire lesson that I currently have. I'm actually going to go figure out where the hell this came from and install it back into the book where it belongs. I'm actually going to find out where this actually goes, because it goes somewhere. It's got to go somewhere. I think I found it on page 114, which doesn't want to load. No, it doesn't want to load it. Being a dick. It's being a Joe Biden. It's slowing the mind. Okay, yeah, I actually found where this goes. So it is, let me find the beginning. Is there anything in here? Anything? I just gotta fix this stuff right now, so I'll get back to looking up stuff. It is here. It's called Building a Language. I find Building a Language. Okay, that's done. Okay, the next one is the hardest part of using it is simple. I'm just going to copy the whole thing. That'll make it a lot easier to change this. Okay, the Uraesh. Okay, the Uraesh does not grant power, or power does not exist. That should be right here. Okay, that's fixed. And I think I've actually read this before and did not find these. How weird. Innocence. We're on innocence. Looks like I fixed that already. Let's go back to discernment. That did not even get caught. Oh, I better just add it here to matter. There's no confusion. What does this even want to do? I'm going to leave it capitalized. I don't care. Where was it? Okay, that's done. So, still, oh shit, it didn't fit. I am going to have to remove that. That might work. It's shorter. Shorter to autism, then. Okay, there we go. That works. Still, it fit. Past all that. Yeah, that's the end of it. Okay, this is. We could go into the lore of the language with the Shenva, but I really don't feel like doing that. Now the next section is the Venori keys, something I don't think I'm even capable of making. Tools may not exist on Earth. Oh, we did cover the Uraesh. So the Uraesh basically, every person literally has to create their entire language themselves, which basically makes it impossible for someone's gonna match me on when it comes to magical power. I don't even have to worry about that at all. There is no worry I'm going to be matched for power on this thing. Now, which if she really wanted to compete with me, she'd have to create her own language on this. And somehow, I don't think she's got the time to do it. This is like extremely complicated. And she doesn't have the innocence to do it either. Which I think also protects me from her trying to... But her powers and my powers are completely different anyway, so I don't think it matters. Honestly, I don't think it actually matters at all. Because we literally... Let me show you the link. It's pretty big. I actually have quite a lot of words on this thing. It's quite extensive. Let me just get to the top of it. Here's the common words that I currently have, with a few that I gotta make, like ashes to ashes. So I got ash in there, hasn't been made yet. So these are all the words that I currently have in Uraesh. Quite extensive, actually. And there's the end of it. What's that last one? Oh, the word with. And here's some larger ones. It says, be gone, blessed be by the power of, great and powerful. Things that would be words of their own, which is what Valos told me to make these words of their own. In the names of, in the names, make evil, I call to. I haven't even put dots on some of these yet. So we'll go do that now. We'll prime that and get it ready for me to start adding stuff. Oh, this thing's fucking up on me. I release you. Oh, damn, I'm surprised I don't even have it for that. I think in the names might already be one, I think. I'm not sure. So you don't know. Make evil. Okay, so there's a few. Let me highlight them. That'll make it better. Open wide the gates up. It's too long to fit in the column. I don't think I need open wide the gates of. I think I said that in full text. Some of these I don't think even have letters. Yeah, they do. M-A-U-S ion or something. So yeah, I've got suffixes made. I have only one prefix. I have un done as a prefix. I don't have anti, N or M or X, extra, 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 or re done yet. Guess those words words Nino's haven't come up in my usage yet. But all I can say is that which could definitely use this language just because of how devastatingly powerful it is. She probably wouldn't even need a tarot deck anymore with this thing. I don't know. She's really geared towards tarot for some reason. And I like the way it looks. I really love the way it looks on her table when she's using that deck. I'm definitely gonna be asking her a ton of questions when she gets going. I'm not sure how many readings she's gonna get with the number of subscribers. So we'll go have a look and see how many. She's got 358. I got about half that. Less than half that. God damn, I can't even open that in a new tab. I have 134. And I'm live, so that's obvious. So I guess in the meantime, we'll go have a look at if there's any existing languages of chaos. Yeah, there is. You type in chaos language on Google, you do get suggestions like a chaos language alphabet, and there's one in 40K, I guess. Let's go see what the alphabet looks like. It's the standard English alphabet. Looks pretty cool, though. They have numbers, too. And there's several of them. There's several chaos languages. It's not just any. It's like a whole bunch of them. And the one I found one, it says the runes of chaos. I think it's actually based on a real language because it's got sounds that I don't think are even English. Or they are not. They might be. It might just be another English alphabet converted. Because the Uraesh is not an English alphabet. Here's runes of chaos, but these are just sounds from English. Yeah, R-A, R-A-C. Yeah, I think it's just sounds from English. I'd have to go look into this, see what's in here, and go view it. But let's see what we've got. Or this is another one here that looks kind of interesting. And there's the first one on Reddit. Let's go check out the Reddit one. That one might be interesting. But there's a lot of magical alphabets on here. Languages galore. Some of them look pretty cool, actually. Like this one looks pretty cool. Yeah, it's just a standard alphabet. It's not a language, it's simply an alphabet. So we're going to go visit this one on Reddit and see what it's like. God damn, this thing broke. Hey guys, you know where I can find texts in chaos language? I can't find anything on Google. Maybe some of you will know something. I'm looking for letters, but I can't find any. Oh, it looks like it's from someone's talking about a series here. There's a link. This one 3 years ago. Kind of sucks it's from 3 years ago and not new. Because I would love to be able to answer this, but I can't. Alphabet Angelique. So this comes from a... that's kind of interesting. So it's some kind of angelic alphabet. I think you might be mixing up a couple of things. Chaos language is the language used in the songs of the series and is created by Emmy Evans. She owns the rights to her creation and has never shared the lyrics for any of the songs and opposed to written lyrics. You may find online and fan-made and are simple transliterations of what said whoever wrote the words to be like. So there is nothing to be found out there. If you are interested in referring to a script used in some instances in some in-game text, like the bosses appearing during a Route A in auto format, or black scroll writings in replicant, etc., that is not chaos language. It's just an alphabet inspired by angelic script, an actual script from centuries ago, which is what the thing I was looking at. It is just angelic script. I think it was from the Key of Solomon, or I'm not sure who created it. I think it might have been John D. I'd have to look into actually who created it. But the Uraesh that I have is a true chaos language. What I have is an actual chaos language, but which is otherwise plain English, just with letters from this script instead of using the Latin alphabet. This is the most accurate translation sheet indicating which symbol corresponds to which letter. Gray ones are technically uncertain, but they are actually as correct as the rest of the alphabet. Somebody responded 3 months ago, actually. Let's see, what's this Reddit actually called? Oh, it's called R Near. 8 hours ago. It's just a cosplay. It's a cosplay. It's not anything real. It's a cosplay anime play, so it's not even real. Okay, that doesn't work. Couldn't I shut that off? Let's go look up more to see what we can actually find here. Well, it's in 40K. So let's see if there's a language, chaos language. Yeah, here we go. It's in the Near, it's in the Neuer, I don't even know how to pronounce that, but it's some video game. As you saw already, I actually created a real life chaos language and how to create, and you actually have to create your own. So, oh yeah, a gibberish language with feeling. Evans blended phonetic elements from multiple real languages, including Japanese, English, Irish, French, and Italian, to evoke a sense of familiarity while remaining inscrutable. So not at all what I want, but it looks like it refers to a video game. It's just going back to Emmy Evans. Song of the Ancients. Chaos Beast Translator. Languages of Near. Near the Draken Guard. And Amino, whatever. Yeah, it's nothing real. What I created is actually real. How to say chaos in English? No, chaos is not a bad thing. Let's see if we find out in the occult. Chaos magic. The dark tongue, sometimes called the black speech, is a language of chaos spoken by its mortal and demonic servants and followers. This is from Warhammer. I think I'm literally the first person to do this. I think I am the first person on Earth to literally create a language of primordial chaos. And this is actual proof This is actual proof that I've done something that nobody else on earth has ever done. People have talked about it, but nobody has ever done it. Like, ever. So I'm the only person on earth in real life that have ever created a language of chaos that actually works as an occult language. By channeling an alien dude that actually speaks it as his living language. This is the dark tongue, sometimes called the black tongue, is a language of chaos spoken by its mortal and demonic servants. It's not spelled demon, it's spelled daemonic, like the messenger type of daemon, spelled as messenger, servants and followers. It is the only language that can adequately express the mysteries of chaos. In that way, they are right, because the Uraesh does have that ability. Because any word, you can create any word that can mean anything you want. Because you're vibrating the sounds to make a word that has the vibrational feeling of what you want to create. That is the ability. That is the gift of the Uraesh. So the language I have is literally this in real life, capturing the mystical and the arcane in ways that no other language can. Yes, like the Uraesh can do. It can convey things that cannot be conveyed in any mortal existing language. So what I did in creating the Uraesh, nobody on earth has ever done this. I can say that not even John Dee can do what I did. Not even King Solomon could do what I did. Not even Aleister Crowley. There is no sorcerer that ever lived on the earth, not even Merlin, not even a historical Merlin, not even the fictional Merlin created a language of chaos. While similar in some ways to daemonic, the magical language used for casting chaos spells and rituals by daemons, the dark tongue lacks the magical weight found in the other more blasphemous tongues. Speaking, the dark tongue does not always attract the attention of the dark gods, nor can it be used to speak the incantations needed to cast a spell or recite a ritual. Dark tongue is also a root language for others spoken in the old world and beyond. Oh, that's this image. I showed you this already. It's not in full size, but I did show it to you already. So whoever created this already knows the chaos language or knows about it, but they never created it. They got a word called theos. Physical essence, soul, and will. Deos. Physical entity, spirit, daemon, power. So there's a few. Looks like there's only a couple. There's some words. Akash is blood. Akshami is secret. So yeah, they have stuff. They have a language, but this is nowhere near as extensive as my language. You saw how big mine was. There's got to be 200 words. I have every single word. I have almost all the words written down in my box. So yeah, the language I have is far more extensive than this. Vakroth is laying waste the mountain. Also, name of a bloodthirster. Shyish is purple, pink, or amethyst. So this is pretty cool, actually. They have a language, but it's really short. I think even Navi's got like this as long as I think Navi might be longer than mine, or about the same length of dictionary as my language. Let's go have a look. Let's see how big the Navi dictionary is. Because there is a thing on here for us. We can go look it up. Because this is actually a spoken language, but it's not a primordial language. It's just a regular language. Yeah, it's just Na'vi is a constructed language spoken by the Na'vi people of the world of James Cameron's Avatar. Okay, is that really where I would go to? There's the disk. See how big it is. Let's just see how big the. Well, here we go. The little cursor is really freaking tiny. So Na'vi is actually a very, very large language. So we're gonna just scroll through it at normal speed, like I did with the one on my computer, the one in my document. The first word is oops. It's pronounced, I believe it's pronounced A. A few, several, for countable nouns only. All, I believe. I don't know. This is pretty long. Yeah, this is very long. Okay, it's actually gotten longer since the last time I saw this. They've been adding words. There's a found fan lizard. This one's fan lizard. There's a sylophant. I'm not sure how you pronounce. Oh, it's called con, core, coup. I guess the X is silent. All of them is KX. Cam, middle or midpoint. Yeah, this language is extremely many. This has got to be like 5 or 6 times longer than mine. I will probably never create this many words in the Uraesh. I'll probably never have use of doing so. But you can see just how long the Na'vi language dictionary is really just insane. But when it comes to actual chaos languages, I am the only one who ever created one. And if you want to practice Uraesh, you're also going to have to create your own language. Let's see what happens if I look up occult languages. There's a list. Let's see what the list has. It's not quite a list, but it has a lot of stuff in here. There's a Theban alphabet. There was the celestial one that was used by that game, or the one it was based off of. Hey, we found out who wrote it. It's in the 3 books of occult philosophy. It's called the Celestial Alphabet. Transitus Eluvii, The Passing of the River, and Malcolm, a student of Trithemus. Cornelius Agrippa featured several occult alphabets in his 3 books of the occult philosophy. Enochian, the Tetragrammaton, Hebrew. We know that's an occult language. I mentioned it before as being a magical language. There's quite a few, but nothing is chaos. Are these considered languages, or are they just alphabets? These seem to just be alphabets, but not I created an actual language. These are just alphabets. The Enochians from 1583 to 1584, so purpose is divine language, but it's not. I don't know if it's really a language. I think it is. I think I did prove this was a language, because here it is. Golden Dawn syllabic reading. So I think there might be. Yeah, there is some words. There's only a couple of words. To be or to say. I am, thou art, he, she, it is, they are, was, were, shall be. Yeah, there's only a couple. There's not that much on here. Hey, that's how the Rocot define this. That's how my language and the Rocot have I, me, and all that as one word. But I think mine and myself are a separate word. I'm not sure. It's pretty clear this is it's a language, but not a complicated one. Yeah, I'm not going to go through all this stuff. This is just too long. It's mostly there's no languages. This is the most complex language there is. Besides, I think the Necronomicon the Simon Necronomicon has a language in it, but it's only got like 20 or 30 words. This one has a few words, but not very many. It looks like people use Latin. Well, I can give them a language, but I can't do anything on here. I can't get back on it, so I can't fucking tell them there is a language they can use that's really powerful, but you have to kind of create it yourself. Latin. They specifically said Latin. Okay, there's a really long answer right here. I'm not going to go through this. Well, I hear Latin's used a lot. Google has English works use Latin, while I've learned that non-English works can use Sanskrit, Hebrew, or classical Tibetan to achieve similar. Is that going to take me to the actual post? I don't think it does. Call of Cthulhu, cult language is Call of Cthulhu, but I don't think they actually have a language in Call of Cthulhu. It's just the the Lovecraft actually never wrote the actual Necronomicon. He only ever describes it. And that's kind of fucked up. I wish he had written it and sold it separately, so we'd actually have his version of the Necronomicon. There's Moon Cult. Let's see what they have. Sounds magical. Occult languages and scripts. It's $25. It's a lecture, actually. Which doesn't really help me any because I don't think they're going to let me play that on here without getting in trouble. Abracadabra, I speak, therefore I create. Well, it should be is Uraesh. I speak, therefore I create. It says, in this lecture, we will take a thorough look at the history of magical scripts ranging from letters, names, and glyphs, fully comprised esoteric languages. Students will examine how these languages originate and the ways in which they have been used in spells and rituals throughout history. In the letter portion of the class, we will explore these languages in action, looking briefly at the narrative charms, textual magic, and sacred words, and so much more. From ancient Greek ring letters to the Slavic Gogalika, I'm not sure. I have no idea. Gogalika, to John Dee's angelic Enochian language, which join us for an exciting look at magical languages and scripts. It was recorded this year in January. If I did this, I could copy it. That's the thing, is where would I post this? I think it's going to download. I believe so. I'm not sure. Let's see what this says. This might actually be worth it. Might be able to advance my stuff further. If I get this, I gotta figure out how I'm gonna get this to that witch you know. Well, this may be too advanced. I don't know. I'm not sure how advanced she is in what she does that we're not seeing. There's books. Looks like they have candles and stuff. Midsummer altar candles. So there's books for all this, but spell work and ritual intensive part 4, part 3 goes back, and it looks like it's witchcraft or Wicca. I'm not sure. Occult herbalism of the poison path. Of the poison paths. Yeah, I think I'm gonna keep that away from her. She might do something fucked up to her next boyfriend. I think she had hemlock on her shelf too. I'm not sure. I have to go back and watch that video with her altar where she shows her herbs. I think some of them she had were toxic. There's 61 products in here. Oh, there's the occult languages and scripts. They're using a different form of Hecate. I think that may be the Greek one. I'm not sure. It's the Greek, Roman, or what, but they have it. Hymns of the Dread Goddess. But there's no way to send links to her, though. Wild elderberry elixir. Damn, I like these elixir things. Those are pretty cool. Antique silver chalice for 15 bucks. Like, how the hell's that 15 bucks? Snakebite tincture blend, 7 bucks. Yeah, they got a lot of herbs. Planetary sigil stickers. There's the bottom. Rose sugar cubes, the bottom one. Lavender sugar cubes. They got a lavender lip tint. If I get a way, there's a way I can send this to her. I'd love to send this to her. This looks like it's got stuff she would want. But I will have to figure out how I'm going to download that. I guess I'm going to figure out how they're going to give that to me and if I can record my screen. But they'll probably really come after me if I record my screen and upload that to Rumble. But it turns out I am the only person who's ever created a chaos language after looking already. So nobody else has ever done it. I don't think there's anything. I don't find anything on YouTube for this. I don't think I'm going to find anything, like, at all. No, there's nothing. Nothing on YouTube. My search inquiry was real chaos languages, and there is nothing. I am still the only person to have ever done it. So just do normal, just chaos languages. The first video is different types of language learners. There's 36 videos called Chaos Language, but I think it's a band. There's Neuer or Near. Emmy Evans Chaos Language. I guess someone's going to speak it. Let's see what happens. Let me do this. Let's see what this is. Let's see what we've got here.
When Nier was released back in 2010, it received mixed reviews from a number of different sources. But
it's called Nier. I was pronouncing it right.
Undeniably, one of the highlights was the soundtrack. Nier's soundtrack was composed by Keiichi Okabe with the help of some of the members from his studio Monaka. The game's original soundtrack received enough praise to cause Square Enix to spawn 3 more albums down the line, containing rearrangements of the songs that were featured on the original soundtrack. The albums sold exceptionally well in Japan, and 3 of the 4 albums even made it onto the Japanese Oricon music charts. All while Keiichi Okabe is an absolutely amazing composer, one of the things that made the Nier soundtrack stand out in the way that it did was Emmy Evans' vocal work. Her voice is incredibly beautiful and downright haunting, but the secret behind her vocals is her so-called chaos language. Emmy Evans is an English singer who is currently residing in Tokyo.
She's cute.
Lead singer
I give her that.
Freescape, and actually has previous experience with working on video game music prior to having worked on Nier. When she was younger, she traveled to Japan in order to study abroad, but ended up staying and eventually formed the band Freescape. In an interview with OSV, Evans retold the story of how she ended up working on the Nier soundtrack. Back in 2008, she suddenly received a call from an assistant who was working at Keiichi Okabe's studio about doing vocal work for the game Dance Dance Revolution. But then, after Keiichi Okabe had listened to her vocal work on Free Escape's songs, he declared that he would much rather have her work on another one of his projects instead, which he thought would suit her voice more. This other project...
I think I might have found it.
During one of the meetings that Evans had with...
Okay, we're not too interested. I want to hear the language. That's the whole point of this video, is about chaos languages, not fictional languages, but the real ones. So I'm going to play this. And yeah, it is. It's Emmy Evans. So we're going to hear the chaos language from Nier. I don't know if she starts singing, that is. It's showing the game, actually. Showing, I guess, scenes from the game itself. Nier Automata, that's the name of the song. I think. Nier Automata, Way to the World. Okay, well, that's the chaos language from the Nier video game, or the story. And this is actual chaos language. Ao Yusei, Ie Yusei, Shio Ijole, Ashla Ijnem Shesh, A Unone, Oshael. That's the real one. Well, of course, she sounds a lot better. What is she saying in Uraesh? That would be freaking crazy. If she's singing Uraesh instead of this language, instead of the Nier dark language or whatever it is. And she's got a heavenly voice. Okay, I'm not going to go any more than that's enough.
Studio Monaka, she was tasked with writing her own song lyrics in a made-up language. Here she comments saying that she hadn't had any previous experience writing lyrics in a made-up language, but that she had always enjoyed singing songs in different languages during her younger years. Even if she couldn't understand
Like
what was
Nova
being
singing
sung,
Spanish
she
and
would
actually
listen to the
passing by
songs and
pretty
then simply
well.
mimic the words. So it's
I was surprised when
understandable
that
how
happened.
the idea of
I was surprised when Nova sang a song in Spanish. I think it was Spanish. And it actually sounded pretty good for him never speaking it. But this lady apparently made up a language and put a song into it or whatever. I only know one song in the Uraesh. I think I've done one other song. I think I did another spell to a country song or something. On my last, I think it was my last video, the one before that, I sang a country song with an Uraesh spell in it. So I've done two spells in Uraesh in singing version.
getting to create her own made-up language and then perform it was very appealing to her. Studio Monaka would send Evans drafts for the songs that were going to be featured on the soundtrack, coupled with instructions on what kind of language they wanted her to mimic for each song. Some of the languages that she was instructed to mimic included English, Japanese, Gaelic, Portuguese, Italian, Spanish, French, Swahili, and Hungarian, to mention a few, in order to captivate the right sound that she needed in order to construct her fake language. Evans would listen to language lessons online in an attempt to get a feeling for the language's different rhythms and sounds so that she'd be able to mimic them. She would also write lyrics down in the languages as a means of getting even more involved. One of the joys of being allowed to create lyrics based on multiple languages was that she felt as if different languages
Why is
used
the button
different
not
parts of her
working?
brain, which in turn gave birth to different emotions. Evans also mentions that she would have liked to have collaborated with native speakers as well, but that she wasn't able to due to time restrictions. There's only one song that doesn't have lyrics that are based on another language, which is the Song of the Ancients. Because it was the first song that she had been sent and she'd received no further instruction other than to use an imaginary language, Evans admits to having felt very anxious. In order to write the lyrics for the Song of the Ancients, she took inspiration from all of the languages and mixed them together, as opposed to working on deconstructing one language per song as she did for the other tracks. At first, she felt a little bit guilty and considered it almost a bit unethical to be mixing languages with each other in such a way, but once she made it to the studio and started recording the songs, the lyrics became much more familiar and easy to sing. Evans' process of manipulating languages for the Nier soundtrack meant taking a language and then imagining how that language could possibly sound thousands of years into the future, creating a very mysterious and futuristic feeling as she went. Evans herself also states that none of the lyrics that she wrote had any special meaning in particular, aside from the ones that were featured in the song Ashes of Dreams. As for the creation of Ashes of Dreams, she received a list of keywords in Japanese from Nier's director, Yoko Taro. He wanted her to incorporate the keywords into the song, which she did by translating them into different languages and then deviating from the actual pronunciation of the words so that it would sound foreign even to native speakers. Her knowledge of the game and its characters was very limited, as all she had received was a very brief rundown of the story as well as a cutscene featuring the two characters Devala and Popola. She wrote the lyrics on her own before then traveling to the studio to record her vocals under the supervision of Keiichi Okabe. He would try to help her envision what kind of landscapes would play out when the songs were being played, in order to try and help Evans figure out what overall feeling the song would portray. But Evans felt a little bit conflicted as she didn't really know what emotion to capture, not only due to the vague descriptions, but also due to the fact that a majority of the arrangements for the songs were still incomplete at the time when the vocals were being recorded. Okabe was very understanding and allowed Evans a lot of freedom when recording. Without the exceptions of a very few straightforward requests, such as a few cues on when to sing more softly or strongly, Evans was allowed to get lost in the song and perform it as she saw fit. Using her imagination, she was able to create an image for each song on her own, and the arrangements that were made for the coming albums that were created after the soundtrack was complete were often based on the emotion that her vocals carried. When Evans herself listens to the Nier soundtrack, she
I made a comment saying that, talking about the Uraesh.
Even though they are nonsensical. She
So,
also mentioned
yeah.
how she felt
People,
that
if
the way
anyone
that
does
she was
find
able
us,
to
they're
use
gonna
her
know about
voice
it.
was very liberating, and that she was excited about getting to use this type of voice for the Nier soundtrack. Keiichi Okabe collaborated with Evans again for Yoko Taro's next game, Drakengard 3. Although she wasn't featured
heard of
on as many
Drakengard.
tracks as she
I
was
have
on
heard
the
of it.
Nier soundtrack, her Chaos language appeared once again on multiple tracks from Drakengard 3. She also provided the vocals for the song Kuroi Yuta, or the Black Song, which was originally sung by the artist Aid Aoi. The lyricist Kikuchi Hana wrote the lyrics for the original song only in katakana, which is a Japanese writing system that is primarily reserved for writing foreign words or loanwords, much like how English uses italics. The lyrics are very clearly a modified version of Japanese and were not changed for Emmy Evans' international release. In my own opinion, which I'm sure a lot of people agree with, the beauty of Drakengard 3's, as well as Nier's music, is that the lyrics are nonsensical. Not only does it transcend language barriers in a new sense, but it gives every player a unique experience. We, as the players, are free to take each song and interpret them however we want to. I could not possibly be any more excited over the fact that Emmy Evans has returned to do more vocal work for Nier Automata, again featuring her Chaos language. I strongly encourage you to look up the game's main theme, The Weight of the World, if you haven't. Even though the English version is absolutely fantastic as well, I am awfully biased towards Emmy Evans' nonsensical version. I have had it on repeat pretty much since the first time I heard it, and it has very much become an obsession of mine. I think.
Okay, I'm not going to play the video 100%. We're stopping with only about 40 seconds left. It looks like there's a lot more stuff on that which you know's comment posts section that I had no idea about. The newest thing I had was like 19 hours ago. And she posted a link to a video for the origins of Hecate. It's 40 minutes. I'm not going to play that, but I'm going to queue it up for myself. There's no comments on any of these, by the way. Yeah, there is. There is no comments on any of these. It says there's 3 comments on this one, the one I commented on. She talks about, which says, before I embraced witchcraft, I spent 40 plus years as a devout Christian. It shows in a lot of her videos when she mentions the goddess and Yeshua and all that, and talks about this. I forgot the guy's name, but there's this guy that she sometimes references a lot, who does a lot of like, I think he's a professor or a researcher that talks about Christianity like the deepest possible ways. So yeah, she knows a lot. Says she's a legally ordained minister, and I studied scripture like the world, like there would be a test and failure wasn't an option. So to any Christians who might find my channel and decide to be offended, know this: I still have a very close personal relationship with Yeshua, and it is him I will petition to deal with you if need be. And trust me, she could do that. And I back her up. It says, you see, I work with many deities, especially in regards to their various followers. And while I may not worship your God as you imagine him, I will absolutely make a spiritual call and let your deity know the kinds of bullshit you're up to. Yeshua is not your get out of hell free card, Christians. He is your example to follow while you're going through hell. and he is very clear that judgment begins at home. So do not ask your God to judge me until you first pulled that log out of your eye and stood before your Creator and not felt ashamed of your behavior. As Yeshua commanded, judge not, lest you be judged. Whatever measures you will use will be used against you. I commented, it says, she no doubt knows more about your God and Yeshua than you do. As a fellow occultist, she has my protection as well. So no doubt there. Well, let's go read the newer stuff. Let's get to the newer stuff that I haven't seen. It doesn't even show up in my thing at all. Oh, there's the Hecate video. Okay, this is pretty long. Whoa, that is long. Not as long as the one I just read, but it's kind of long. The ancient Greek religion of Thessaly was famous for its association with Hecate. Okay, so the Greek is the C, and I think the Roman is the K. I believe. I'm not sure. I'll have to look that up. The goddess of witchcraft, crossroads in the night. She was particularly worshipped there in the city of Pherae, where she is known as Hecate Brimo, and was sometimes considered the consort of the god Hermes, which I mentioned in a comment. I think Hermes might have been her consort because they got into a little fight, and Hermes got put in his place. Do not mess with the goddess of witchcraft and crossroads in the night. The strong connection between Thessaly and Hecate is also reflected in the famous ancient belief that Thessalian women are highly skilled sorceresses. Well, I don't know what I am, but I'm a highly skilled sorcerer, and I've done something that nobody has ever done. Created a working chaos language that is intended for magical purposes. Nobody has ever done that. Even if I publish my alphabet and dictionary, which I have on my Google Drive, and you go ahead and use it, you'll never reach my peak power because you'll have to create your own language. I mean, your own dictionary of words. Probably even your own grammar as well, because I think you even have to create your own grammar. Because I was never given any rules of grammar when I was creating the language. And it seems to have its own form of grammar on itself because the Rokat and the Shenva themselves, like it has its own form of grammar, and it is slightly different than the English language. Because even what I learned from Valos, there is differences. There's words that I learned from him. So I'm like, I guess we've already gone through that. It's like, in the name of was a single word. I think it was, I banished thee was its own word. Things like that. Some things like that were actually just a single word. Even though I have the words to write them out in full, but in the language, they are their own word. So language is intended for occult purposes. And it may have other combined words that are like phrases that are single words that I don't know about. I should actually ask Valos what they are and create my own versions of them. Okay, let me continue reading this thing. Hecate in Thessaly, a powerful goddess. Hecate was a potent, is a potent goddess deeply tied to magic, the occult, and the liminal space of the world. Worship in Pherae. She was worshipped in the city of Pherae in Thessaly, where she is known as the epithet Hecate Brimo, likely meaning the terrifying. Thessalian witches. It says ancient Greek sources such as philosopher Plato noted the reputation of Thessalian women for their witchcraft and use of poisonous herbs. And trust me, she actually does have poisonous herbs in a cabinet in her room. A practice strongly associated with Hecate in connection with Hermes. In some Thessalian cults, particularly in Phery, Hecate was believed to have been the consort of chthonic underworld god Hermes. I think it was the other way around. I think Hermes was her little playmate. Because in the legend, she gets mad at him. I have to go back to Wikipedia and find the story again. But she gets mad at him and puts him in his place. It is hilarious. I think I probably would have to find the actual story, the full length story somewhere, and read it. It might be pretty interesting. I'm going to have to ask her to do that. Hecate's role as a goddess of boundaries extended to various luminal locations, including crossroads, entrances, and gateways. Chthonic and underworld aspects. She is also connected to the underworld, where she guided souls and was revered as a protector against restless spirits. Hecate is often depicted with torches, keys, and hounds, and sometimes in triple forms. And there's a picture included. And the next one is modern belief labels. Hecate's mother made it in Crone, in which she is which is not true of Hecate's early origins. Yeah, we know the early origins. The founder of Wicca, Gerald Gardner, conflated Hecate with the Moria, aka Fates, when he invented Wicca in the mid 20th century. But Hecate has always been far more than the triple goddess. Her power is such that gods and titans both feared and respected her. Witchcraft, a practice, is not neo-pagan, do more than pay lip service to this ancient queen. Whoa, this one's kind of long. Okay. This is something from personal life, I guess. Apparently, there are two witches in the online beef, and backstory made me think this envy. It is envy. These are two influencers beefing over views, and there's a good chance it's staged. Lots of these petty dramas are fake. Some of them are real, and sometimes it's hard to tell. Drama on TikTok is next level, and it's rarely petty except when it is. TikTokers love a good cause and will rally behind a feud over an antipasta salad and a suspected meth lab somewhere in the deep south, and the sheriff got involved, but it appears to be a thing of the past. The whole thing fell victim to increasingly short attention spans of its users. Yeah, TikTok has extremely short attention spans. I will probably never go back on there again. I don't think I can. I don't plan on replacing my phone for quite a while. So I might not be back on there for years. Next, it was Kendra who fell in love with her psychiatrist series. The drama took TikTok by storm. It triggered me a little because if this was real and not staged, Kendra needed an immediate 70-hour hold. But after healing my shadow, I concluded that the whole thing was a scam and it never happened. And Kendra made money to got notice for about a week. Then it was a marble table in New Jersey falling over and shattering at a coffee shop, and the business response outraged TikTok. Within a week, a formerly prosperous boutique was empty of people. TikTok don't play. They investigate thoroughly every claim, and God help you if they find you guilty of wrong. TikTok mob is no joke. But malice is never the order of the day. Justice is. I've seen it for myself. Lots of good-hearted souls willing to champion a noble cause and fight the good fight. That war over TikTok, the rhetoric that it's dangerous, is far more layered than anyone realizes. The reason of AI somehow factors greatly into this equation, and it remains to be seen just where this will go. another video. I think it's a song, another song, and another song. I can't play those. Got to dig it on my stream. This is gonna be fucking interesting. I wonder what she's gonna say. Okay, why does that word never come out right? Oh, I wonder what she's gonna say. It's gonna be interesting. I'm gonna find out tomorrow. Her days off aren't. I don't even, oh yeah, she did say her days off. It was Tuesday and Wednesday, so I'll just find out whenever she gets up or whatever. I'll find out when she gets up. Damn, this is gonna be crazy. Okay, it says me and another friend had TikTok and were. Oh, let me get the whole thing loaded. Me and another friend had TikTok and were really don't like it when and they really don't like it when you teach magic on there. I just did a ton of digging tonight on my stream and found out I did something no other source on earth has ever done, or any magical practitioner for that matter. I created a working chaos language for use in the real world and instructions on how to make one, because every practitioner will have to form their own dictionary of words using a tonal alphabet of 17 characters and a set of rules of obtainment I designed for this. I want to teach you how to obtain your own dictionary of chaos words, but this is a thing no one has ever done before. It's true. I am the only person on earth right now that's ever created an actual language of chaos. and you all got to see it on YouTube. So I'm gonna end this stream, and I'm gonna watch the Hecate video. Or Hecate, I think she says Hecate, so I think I'm gonna go with that. I think it's the Greek one that she's going with. So I'm gonna go with Hecate. I like Hecate. I think that's the Roman, I believe. I'm not sure which is which. Let's go look that up right now before I get off of this. The one with a K, let's see which one that actually is. It comes back as Greek anyway. It's just a different spelling of the same thing, so. It's still Greek either way. Either spelling doesn't matter. They're both Greek. So never mind. Both spellings are Greek. Well, I'm going to call it a night for this stream. There's nothing else I can really talk about when it comes to the language of primordial chaos that no other sorcerer in all of human history has ever created or even devised the rules of creating. So you heard it here for the third time in all of human history from me. Nobody else has ever done this. So I'm pioneering magic that nobody has ever done before. So I guess I actually have some claim to fame of my own that I created something that nobody else has ever done. So the great sorcerer Sockness has done something that nobody has ever done. So you're going to have to acknowledge my genius now, trolls. I am a true genius. I've done something that nobody else has ever done. And it's on this stream. The impossible. But it was done by me and only me. Only Sockness has the genius to create what has never been done. So, good night, folks. I'm about to have a river dance on Gavin Newscum's soul tonight. Once I get a little more drunk, I might come back on and actually use the language of primordial chaos. So I'm going to have some fun tonight when I get a little more fucked up. So good night, people. I might come back later. Drunk as a skunk and speaking the Uraesh, the language that I created. Primordial chaos.